sakit talaga dito.
December 7, 1941 is known in history as the Day of Infamy. November 8, 2013 will long be remembered as the Day of Devastation. It was the day when Super Typhoon Haiyan or Haiyan, locally known as Yolanda, came and brought untold destruction on our homes, on our properties, on our lives. We in Eastern Samar, which comprises the Diocese of Borongan, have always known that we are in the path of typhoons. In fact, it would be safe to say that every parent in Eastern Samar has brought up every child to always be ready for any and all typhoons and to simply rise and pick up the pieces of what would be left. But the question is, what if there was a typhoon so strong, in fact, the strongest in recorded history, that the moment it left, there was very little or even nothing to pick up? This is our story with Super Typhoon Yolanda.
It was a story of killer winds and killer waves.
Super Typhoon Yolanda was not really a surprise to us. She was anticipated, she was predicted, but still she came to us as a shock, and also to many of our people. But for those who were not there, how did it feel? What was it like? We spoke with Silvano Barcial of Hernani, Eastern Samar, the parish of Our Lady of $7, and this is what he said when he described what it was like.
Ito niya second floor niya building, dito second floor, amo ito na dalang balod na po sa dito second floor, ang bintana. Kuan la itong balayla itong padre.
It was a story of unspeakable loss and immense suffering.
Water, water everywhere, and not a drop to drink, says the poem of the ancient mariner. But for most victims in Eastern Samar, it was destruction, destruction everywhere, but no tears could come out of our eyes.
After this Super Typhoon Yolanda hit part of our diocese, especially in the southern part of the Diocese of Borongan, and the place was really totally devastated. Many houses were totally destroyed, and many also were washed out by the storm surge. That's why people were really trying to cope up this kind of hard situation, and at the same time to accept reality that many of their loved ones were dead. So this is how the people cope up as of now after the Super Typhoon Yolanda. And because of the situation that they have no food, no shelters, practically nothing at all. They're back to zero.
Most people of Eastern Samar depend on our coconut trees for our livelihood. But where are our trees? We needed roofs over our heads, but where are our homes? We needed our churches to pray and worship, but where are our churches? We have families to live for, to love, and to cherish, but where are our loved ones?
Ano man, diri niyo yung babasol Ginoo, ano itabo?
Ang sarili.
Kay ano?
Kay una waray pababagyo. Pero mila kami quarantine malipan tapos an iba waray pag-aalasay.
It was a story of prayer and seeking intercessions.
We faced forces beyond human control. We had no one to turn to but Him who is the Lord of all. We also turned to Mama Mary and the saints, our super friends in heaven.
I can say that it's a little miracle for the Balangkayanons, because that time when we're praying not only for our mother but also for our patron saint, that he embraced us, that no one hurts, no one will die during that calamity. So I'm very happy when the typhoon Yolanda passed, and our parishioner told me that no one dies during the typhoon. Maybe we go back to him and give ourselves to him and sin no more and be united and be part to each other.
We also now realize the fruits of our prayers. We are alive. Many have survived. Few have died. And not all of Eastern Samar suffered the full fury of Yolanda.
It was a story of victims taking care of victims.
Make no mistake about this. The whole Eastern Samar, the whole Eastern Visayas, even parts of Central and Western Visayas were victims. But the first to respond to victims were themselves victims. In fact, Father Edgar Abusejo, parish priest of Matarino Parish, himself a victim, his family home in Giwan was rendered roofless, traveled all the way to Manila by motorcycle through often impassable highways and roads to let people know how much destruction we went through and how much help we needed.
Merong isang tao doon, papasalamat ako. Kunti lang yung gasolina niya ng kanyang motorsiklo. Siguro tamang-tama lang sa kanyang pangangailangan upang para naman sa kanyang pamilya matugunan iyon. Subalit, ginamit niya yung kanyang motorsiklo upang hanapan ako ng gasolina para ipagpatuloy ko yung aking paglalakbay. Bumalik siya, wala siyang nabiling gasolina, pero kitang-kita ko yung kanyang malasakit sa akin. Yung kanyang pagnanais na tumulong. Ganun din yung ibang tao doon sa evacuation center. Binigyan ako ng kape, binigyan ako ng sirang door, doon ako pinatulog. Without them knowing my identity, they were just too ready to help. At ito yung nag-inspire sa akin na makatulong din. Lalong-lalo na doon sa point na ako'y nahihinaan na rin dahil wala akong gasolina. Pero kinabukasan, yung nakita kong kabutihan nila at pagsusumikap na bumangon ang siyang nag-udyok sa akin na ipagpatuloy ko yung aking biyahe, hoping that somewhere I could find gasoline. At katulad ng mga mabubuting tao doon sa Marabot, mayroong mga tao na tumulong sa akin, nagbigay ng 1 litro, 2 litro ng gasolina, hanggang sa makarating ako doon sa kung saan mayroong nabibili, pero napakamahal. Yung 1 litro, umaabot ng 210 yung presyo. 1 litro lang yon.
So the church, the diocese, tried to respond their needs. Like after the typhoon, 2 days after the typhoon, so we're trying to really deliver the relief goods to them. Like food, the typhoon was Friday, so Monday we're able to deliver relief goods to the area. Monday, because before the typhoon, I called up the manager of NFA in our province, and I asked him to reserve for the diocese at least 300 sacks of rice. So that was already at the warehouse. Then after the typhoon, we pull it out, then made the payments, then repack, then distribute it to the victims, for those who are reachable at that time.
The victims in the parishes, mostly from the central and northern regions of the Diocese of Borongan, started organizing themselves to help fellow victims in the southern region who suffered more than they did.
It was a story of laughter. It's the best medicine. Peace.
We all know Super Typhoon Yolanda was serious business. We lost homes, crops, properties, and lives. But we also know we cannot allow grief to entangle and imprison us. So we use our secret weapon, Pinoy humor.
Early in the morning, I was watching other houses. A water tank passed by us, so we were laughing. Then just to discover that it was the water tank of the Paris Rectory.
It was a story giving us a window to the brotherhood of humanity.
Our suffering was enormous, our losses so many, our hearts so heavy. But thanks be to God, we are never alone. Other people from other places, other provinces, dioceses, and countries came to help us be able to stand on our feet again.
I mean, the damage and the devastation is massive once you travel from Western Samar, let's say from Marabut up to Giwan. Basically everything is destroyed, either completely destroyed or 80% of the houses are destroyed. Caritas Germany is also part of this response, of this international response. At present, we are providing 27,000 tarpaulins throughout various islands, and in Samar 9,000 tarpaulins. This is just the first phase of the relief work, which means food, hygiene kits, family kits to restore the household, and some support for transitional shelter. But in the next phase, which some consider call early recovery, this is then supporting the people that they can restore their livelihood. For example, fishermen have lost their nets and their boats, so they need it. Farmers might need seedlings and seeds and fertilizers to plant for root crops or whatever.
Oh, Adrian, AJ, kalimutan nyo ng bagyo. Laro na lang tayo, okay? It was a story of the children of Job.
The Lord has given, the Lord has taken away, are words from an innocent man who suffered so much. His name, Job, and his experience are reflected in so many victims of Super Typhoon Yolanda in Eastern Samar, especially in children of families that have lost homes, family members, properties, and livelihood.
It was a story of the proclaimers of the crucified Lord.
Our people are faced with tremendous suffering. This we know. So do millions of other people beyond our shores, people like you, our brother, our sister. But there is something else our people know too, that they are facing such tremendous suffering as Christians, as people of faith, as Catholics. For us, it is an added source of strength and of meaning. And surprise, surprise, it has even become a key to joy and laughter.
The faith of the people is still intact. I guess they have a little bit stronger faith these days than they have before. I won't say that there is a surge of devotees or churchgoer. Practically, it's the same people, the same faces that I see, but in their faces, it is manifested that they have now a deeper and more convincing faith in what they are doing. especially with the relationship with the Lord, with the church, and with the people.
From the point of view of faith, I have been telling them that this is not a punishment from God. This is not. God is good. Everything that comes from God is always good. If this storm happened, it is simply because of the imperfection of the world. The world is not perfect. Creation is not perfect. That's the way it is. So, and it doesn't choose whether you are bad or good. It just happens.
Part of the Gospel of St. Luke, 2 days before the feast of Christ the King, Christ said that remember the times of persecution, times of famines and tragedies in life. It is then that you can proclaim faith, you can proclaim Christ, you can proclaim God to other people.
Time after time, we meet survivors, victims of Super Typhoon Yolanda who refuse to blame God for all their troubles, and also refuse at the same time to be defeated by suffering. Why is that? Let me venture an answer. If Super Typhoon Yolanda came on the wings of devastation, our people trying to rise on the wings of faith. I'm Father Yuli Belizar from the Diocese of Borongan and from the province of Eastern Samar.
Have you ever seen the coconut trees blown down, cut and twisted in all possible directions? Have you ever seen a child who was killed by a falling tree? Homes that were blown away, lives and lands in disarray. That is what was left of what now seems another planet. Weeping in our streets has given way to silence, and we are praying with our tears. There's little time to fuss and stare. The hungry suffer violence, but love will cast out all our fears. Yes, love will cast out all our fears. Have you ever seen the waves so tall, 17 feet and counting? They came as sharp as bellows. Have you ever heard the winds howling wild, like a crashing train, slaying our security, exposing our infirmity? Faith is what is left to help us build a better planet. Weeping in our streets has given way to silence, and we are praying with our tears. There's little time to fuss and stare. The hungry suffer violence, but love will cast out all our fears. Yes, love will cast out all our fears. Streets has given way to silence, and we are praying with our tears. There There's little time to fuss and stare. The hungry suffer violence, but love will cast out all our fears. Yes, love will cast out all our fears.